Hola.
Hey there, bud.
Hey, dude. I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, we've stayed separated.
Yeah, we had to have a little separation for a little bit there.
Yeah. Should we talk about why?
Yeah, why haven't I seen you in so long?
I got COVID-19.
You finally got it, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy for
I
you.
got COVID-23 actually.
Yeah.
I got the newest edition. First my wife got it and I was like, all right, here we go.
COVID-23.
I got COVID-23. She got it for the fourth time, and every other time I never got it. I legitimately thought I was like special and I couldn't get it. I thought for sure there's something different about me because I am different. You know,
Yeah.
I'm built different.
Yeah, I thought the vaccines were starting to work finally.
Yeah.
Nope. In your case.
Yeah, 3 years later or 2 years later, they're not as effective. No, yeah, she got it and I was like, I'm gonna be good. And I was like, I felt fine, but I had to pretty much stay home and like do everything for her. And so I was stuck at home for like 5 days, had to cancel a bunch of shit with the band. And then on the last day, I was getting ready. The next morning I was gonna go fishing by myself, up north in like Payson area. I was really excited. I had like everything packed up, ready to go. And I was like, Mont's like getting better. Like she'll be fine on her own. And I go and I lay down that night after cleaning everything off and getting it ready. And I'm just like, my throat kind of hurts a little bit. I didn't want to admit it, but I woke up feeling fucking horrible. And so I was sick for like 5 days, really sick. And then I was testing negative, but I had this really bad sinus infection afterwards. And so like 3 days ago, I called the doctor and I was like, what's going on? I don't have COVID anymore, but I have this. He's like, yeah, that'll just probably last like 4 to 5 weeks. But after that, you should be good. I was like, holy fuck, I'm not doing that.
You called me after
yeah.
he told you that, and that shit made me laugh. So fucking
yeah, it was like
doctors,
like
dude.
4 to 5. I was like 4 to 5 days. Like I can't do that. And he goes, weeks. And I was like, damn.
So
I don't want that.
Was he right or are you fine now?
No, I'm getting better. But it was really weird because I was like, for a week and a half, I was like, dude, I was so tired. It was just the weirdest thing. Even when I was like getting better, I went fishing for like a couple hours and I walked like 5 miles or something throughout the time. And I got home and I just immediately fell asleep for like 2.5 hours. Like I just couldn't do anything. It was weird. But I'm finally feeling back to normal.
Do you feel like, what were your symptoms like? Did you feel like you had the flu?
Yeah, well, yeah, I had a fever that was pretty bad that wouldn't go away. And then even like when the fever would like chill, I had like the chills and body aches and stuff for like 5 days. And then I had a sore throat and just like super tired.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was...
Yeah, the first time
I didn't cough or anything, but...
Yeah, the first time I got COVID, it kind of felt like the flu. Maybe a little less worse than the flu. But it was very similar to the flu.
I haven't been
for
that
like 2
sick
days.
in a long time.
And then the second time I got it, it was more like just a cold that lasted for a few days.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah,
and you're
we're
better.
back.
You're getting better.
I know I've had to cancel so much stuff. I'm happy to I'm glad it worked out between podcasts that I didn't have to like cancel one of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that. Yesterday was like one of the first days, or maybe 2 or 3 days ago was like the first day where I was like, oh, I'm like actually good,
Yeah.
And so yesterday I went fishing for a little while. I caught a good one, but afterwards I was like, dude, I'm gonna go to this Irish bar and just I've been stuck in my house for like 2 weeks, I was like, I'm gonna go to this Irish bar, I'm gonna get some food, probably have a couple beers, and then I'll go home and I'll finish up whatever I need to do for the day. So like it was the first workout I got done yesterday. Everything I was like, I'm feeling good, like I'm back. And I go to the Irish fucking place and they're closed for a private party on Wednesday at like 2. And I was like, this is such bullshit. And I go next door to this place that's not as good. And then I'm just sitting there, I'm eating like food I don't want to eat, having a beer there. And I look outside and this like guy pulls up in like this nice car and I'm trying to figure out what this party is. And it's the weirdest looking people. It's like a bunch of like biker looking guys. And, it's just like, it's weird. It's a weird group. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like booking out a place on Wednesday in the afternoon. and this dude pulls up in this like really nice like red Camaro, and yeah, I was like, damn, that's really sick actually. And so he covers up the car, and I was like, weird move, but it kind of did look like it was gonna rain. And then everybody in the Italian restaurant I was at starts huddling around like right where I'm sitting and eating. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, is he here yet? Is he here yet? And I don't know what's going on. And who is it? It's none other than Guy Fieri. He closed down my favorite Irish restaurant.
Yo, hold on. We're gonna put up on the screen. I'll send this to you, Stevie. But Ryan sends me this video, and it's Guy walking into the restaurant.
Dude, I texted the boys and I was like, I'm fucking shaking right now. I didn't know what was going on, and it started clicking. I was like, bunch of bikers, red Camaro. And then like, so that
I said, get a picture, you coward. We need that for the Katastro Instagram.
I know. I messaged Guy Fieri on Instagram. I was like, let me in the fucking episode. I love Rubens. I love Rubens more than anybody.
Dude, if you could have been in an episode eating a Reuben and just giving the camera a thumbs up,
dude,
you know how legendary that would have been?
That'd be so great.
That was your only chance too, and you're probably gonna have to take this to your grave that you blew it.
Well, and like,
you know,
I was sitting at this Italian restaurant. I'd already finished my food, and I started like getting a feeling like something's happened. I was like, I'll have another beer. I'm just gonna like sit here and wait and see what's going on. And then I was like, I found out it was Guy Fieri, and I was like, all right, I'll have another beer. And she's like, okay. And so I'm just sitting in this Italian restaurant alone, and I just keep ordering beers so that I can stay there and wait to hopefully see Guy Fieri. I'm like, dude, this could be like...
This is right after you're getting like done being sick from COVID. Just
yeah, dude.
Drinking beers,
alone.
waiting for Guy Fieri.
Dude, alone. And I just like worked out. I just went fishing for like 3 hours. I caught like a good one. I was like, this is like the best day ever. And I was all bummed about not getting the food I wanted. But I was sitting there. I'm like, dude, if this is going to take 7 beers of me, it's going to take 7 beers because I'm waiting for Guy Fieri. And luckily, I was only like 3 beers in, and Guy Fieri shows up, and I was fucking amped, dude.
Was he talking to anyone? Did you hear him?
No, so he pulls up in a like nice Escalade and walks out just like a fucking boss.
So why was the red car there for the filming?
Yeah, they're probably like they probably do the inside
up
stuff, and then he wasn't in the car. So I'm sure like later they'll back up the car and
he drives up in it type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all fucking fake. And they definitely like, it was really funny because like a lot of people that were...
He looked like he just had a fresh like bleaching done.
I think he gets it every morning.
Yeah.
He definitely bleaches a lot, but he looked great. He looked really good.
He did. He still looks the same as he did 20 years ago.
So I know a guy
all those Rubens.
His dad owned Hodads in San Diego, and is a like hot dog burger kind of spot out there. And Guy Fieri went to his dad's restaurant and did an episode there, and it kind of like changed, like solidified, like Hodads is like a big thing out there now. It's like, you know, it's really, really fucking popular. And my friend's dad ended up getting cancer and he passes away. And so suddenly my friend he owns all of the Hodads, and they have like one in the stadium out there and all this stuff. And he's like running this business. And he said that Guy Fieri was, you know, he became such good friends with his dad that Guy Fieri like booked out, I want to say like the Dodgers stadium when his dad passed away, and paid for his funeral and party at the stadium. And he like has helped him a lot. I don't know. He just like really good stories. Cause I used to like Guy Fieri as like a joke, but the more you read about him, like he's a really fucking good guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like hearing stories about that.
Yeah, me too. He also has stories about like he would go to Guy Fieri's house for parties, and he plays bass, and he
Guy does?
No, my friend.
Oh.
And he's like a mutual friend of a friend, and we were all hanging out, and he was telling me all these crazy stories. And he goes, yeah, I was at Guy Fieri's house, and they start jamming, and it's Chad Kroeger from Nickelback is playing, and Sammy Hagar, and then him, and he's just like, it's like the funniest group. It's exactly who you would expect to be at a
team of
at
people.
Like Guy Fieri's party. Would definitely like Nickelback, definitely Creed, definitely those people. Dude, Creed's having a little revival right now.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of Creed.
We should go check them out, dude. You think they need an opener?
I don't know. Don't we know somebody that was about to go on tour with them? And
we do, yeah.
They were like...
But then COVID happened.
They were supposed to pay a shitload of money to open for Scott Stapp, and they were going to do it, which I don't know if that's a great move, but, you know.
It could be.
It could be.
You never know, dude.
It could take them higher.
It could take you higher.
Dude. That's my favorite story. Like, one of my stories that we did in the early days was when I had that church camp that was Creed themed. And the whole church summer camp for all these preteen kids was all Creed themed. And everywhere you went, it was fucking Creed music and Creed posters.
I remember kind of fucking with Creed once when I was in like 3rd grade.
My dad got me a Creed CD for Easter.
I had the Creed CD. Uncle Sean bought me the Creed CD.
Dude, so I like Creed and Nickelback. I think that just people at CD stores would just like, people would walk in and be like, I don't know what to get my son. And they're like, you got to get him Nickelback.
It's the stock. It's like the stock like Kirkland CD.
They sold more
out.
than like anybody.
Yeah,
like Nickelback and all them. They're not that bad. Everybody doesn't like them. I think
all the hipsters that are fucking working at a bar in Phoenix think it's funny to make fun of Creed while they're just chilling in their mansions.
They're chilling in their mansions
while you're working some fucking job you don't like.
Yeah.
Talking shit about musicians you don't like.
Chad Kroger's just up in Canada, eh? And he's just fucking loaded to the gills. He's wearing real goose down. What are you wearing? Fucking old Levi's.
You're wearing an old Metallica shirt that you found at a vintage store that has a hole in the back of it, and it's probably not even a real vintage shirt. You probably got swindled.
You got swindled, dude. I see all those.
Doesn't even have the stitches in the bottom.
Too many stitches on there, dude. Oh shit. Yeah, no, Creed's fucking coming back, and I'm here for it. I like it.
I think it might. You know what? I could see all these hipsters in Phoenix like turning the corner and thinking it's now cool to like Creed.
That's what's happening. It's everywhere.
I know, and they just need to make a decision on what's cool, because you can't keep just, picking and choosing what you think is cool when everyone else decides to think it's cool. You either fucking like Blink-182 or you don't.
It's all in generations. So it's like, first it was like the 80s, and then 90s has been super popular recently, but it's going into the 2000s now. 2000s is like, early 2000s is vintage.
Dude, the Timbaland,
20 years.
The Timbaland tracks are going to come back full swing.
Oh, I swear to God, everything's going to go full millennial shit right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. You know who's actually
I feel like those synths, like even in like pop music, like the Future Sex Love Sound synths are like starting to like creep back into music big time.
I mean, dude, that's how everything it goes. It's always 20 years behind. It's really weird.
Yeah.
So we should start.
But I feel like what even happened in 2010? Like
Lollipop?
Was that 2010?
I think it's around there.
No, Lollipop was like senior year, 2008.
I mean, it's fucking 2 years apart.
Dude, there's a lot can happen in 2 years, bro.
A lot can happen.
What happened in the last 2 years? It's hard for me to remember time periods like that.
Me too.
I feel like from 2010 to now has blended together.
Like Get Low, that's going to come back. Get Low, Get Low.
Do you know what song I was fucking listening to? Snoop Dogg. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it. Dude, that beat is so good.
That's Pharrell, right?
Like the whole beat, bro, is an 808 and this like weird percussive shaker that pans back and forth and like a simple rim shot. That's the whole beat.
Do you know who's?
And it's just like them whispering and it's like cool panning and like the way the drum, dude. Did Pharrell produce that one?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. That beat is so good, bro. His beats are so, and that's the coolest thing about Pharrell's production is I feel like Pharrell and like Kanye have a similarity in their production where they understand this fundamental value of like simplicity and like minimalism when it comes to elements you really need in a song for it to be like simple. There's only like in most of Pharrell's beats, there's a couple hi-hats, a kick and a snare or a clap, and like two other melodic elements.
I feel like Kanye's beats are pretty insane.
No,
as far as like not
a lot, yeah, but it depends. Like the stuff Mike Dean's producing, yeah, that stuff's very complex. But a lot of Kanye's stuff, like the sample-based stuff, is it's a kick, a clap, a hi-hat, a sample, and an 808. Yeah. And he's like doing different renditions of that over and over and over again. And like it's all like most of his stuff, I mean,
once he got into Yeezus, that was when it was like, oh, they're doing new shit.
Yeah, and that stuff's crazy. But even then, the reason those beats sound so big is because there's one synth, there's one 808, and there's some drums, usually. Like the big sounding shit. It's just like he's using the right sounds. So it's like there's a fat ass kick, there's a fat ass snare or like clap.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really
the switch ups and the sample production is what makes it different
and complex sounding.
Yeah,
for sure.
And because like Yeezus, when that came out, it was like too much for me. I was like, I don't like it. I don't get it.
I think a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, and then like 15 years later, you could listen to it and you're like, damn, because that's what like people are trying to make now. And it's just like, oh, Yeezus. And that's when he was like, I believe when he like found Travis Scott as a producer, and he was working with all, like, he's so good at finding really young, insanely talented, like weirdo artists that will work with him and like create just the wildest stuff.
Yeah. Did you see the pictures of like him working out in Saudi Arabia on his new, I guess he's like living in Saudi Arabia, like out in the middle of the desert right now, working on his new album.
That's wild. It's really sad to see like how far gone he.
I'm interested to see what his new music sounds like.
Yeah, me too.
I still love Kanye. I don't care.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's sad to me to like see.
I love his
like
music. I love his
he's
music.
said and like done is like fucking insane. But it's, you see someone who's like struggling, doesn't have anybody telling him no, and he also is able to like, I don't know, just watching him kind of.
I haven't really paid attention to that, a lot of that stuff, to be honest, or like read much about it. But I just really like his music.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
I'm able to like separate those things. Like I was listening to Michael Jackson in the car the other day, and I thought to myself, like, for some reason something came on, and I think it was Beat It, and I ended up listening to the whole album that day, and I was just like, this is so undeniably good. It's like, it's insane that after all the shit that went down with him and all the weird shit with the kids, that everyone in society has collectively agreed, like, nah, his music's not cancelable. Like, it's just too good. You still hear Michael Jackson everywhere. He still gets played on the radio. You still hear him at parties. You still hear him, when you're shopping at Fry's.
Yeah, he's good Fry's music.
He's
bringing it back to Kroger right there.
And all the guys that played on those albums were just
insane, dude.
Insane.
I watched
players.
a lot of videos of like the guys that were doing like the synth stuff for him. For some reason, there's a bunch of new content with what I don't know the guy's name, but it's him in this room with a ton of synths, and he just like walks you through how he made the sounds. They show like the Lindrum. It's really basic Lindrum pattern, and then like just the bass lines are so sick.
Did you see there's like this video floating around on Instagram right now of all of his isolated vocal stacks of his harmonies?
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And it's like me and Matt were texting about it, and Matt was like, yeah, and this was before auto-tune. So like the fact that some of his harmonies are like slightly out of tune actually makes the stacks sound bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think there's something to that. And
there's that like natural phasing.
Mm-hmm. So cool. But yeah, it was really cool listening to that. You like swipe through the videos and it shows you the different harmonies, and God, he was so good. It was wild.
Yeah, some people are just freaks, like Prince and all those people. You're just like, whoa, how do they can like shred too? Like you don't realize how actually good they are just because you see their name everywhere and everybody's like, they're the best in the world. And but then you listen to it and you really like break down what's going on. And you're like, oh damn. And I've seen the stuff where it shows like how he was writing, and he would like send an idea and he would have all like 15 vocal parts stacked up on his own and being like, this is the song I want to write. So like to realize he was actually writing like these insane tracks and not working with, now would be a team of fucking 15 people if he was that big of a pop star trying to write one song for him, and he was really like doing that with like
auto-tune's a crazy invention.
It's really,
Did you watch the documentary about autotune and how it was created? Like T-Pain's in it and shit.
Yeah. The guy like started as like a seismograph type of that you took technology for.
Is that dude a fucking billionaire now or what?
It's gotta be.
I mean, he revolutionized.
He changed music.
He
forever.
gave people a music career that should never have one.
Well, I thought that like, because like T-Pain had heard that Cher track and he was like, I need to figure out how to do this. And then finally somebody burned him Antares auto-tune.
Yeah.
And it, like nobody had it, and then he just fucked with the settings and
so
got that signature sound.
Another interesting thing too in that documentary is that they're explaining that when auto-tune first came out and engineers started using it for artists, like when that Cher song came out, do you believe in love? life after life. Is that the heavily auto-tune one?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it had been out for a while, but they were the first ones to like purposely fuck with the settings to a point where it like ruined the
to where it really sounds like robotic and crazy.
Right, yeah.
So engineers had to sign NDA, like in the beginning stages of auto-tune like really being used in the music industry, engineers had to sign NDAs that they would not tell anyone that they were using auto-tune.
Yeah.
So like it was like a hush-hush thing to where like even if you were doing it to fix minor things and it didn't sound auto-tuned, it was like artists were getting in trouble for that being a thing.
But
that
dude, I
using.
think even like when we first started the band, it was like you wouldn't want to admit that you guys used auto-tune. Like when we were first tracking and stuff, and they would throw auto-tune on Andy's voice, you'd be like, I remember there being, maybe it was just because we didn't know when we were young that everybody uses it, but the engineers would be like, no, it's like everybody, all your favorite artists use it, and you're like, my favorite artists don't use it, but they do. Like everybody uses it because it's an incredible tool.
I mean, we know huge artists that use it live that people would never think that they're using auto-tune.
I feel like most people use it live, and why not? I don't know. I used to be very against it. I know
I feel like Andy sometimes changed my. We would get in arguments with Andy all the time because sometimes he would want to crank it when like it shouldn't be cranked.
Yeah,
just because he liked that vibe and that sound. But there are certain songs that we even have where like you could kind of hear it on his voice, but it just sounds cool. And Andy didn't need it. Like he's a good singer.
Right. So like Slide Through is one that comes to mind where you can tell that there's like a lot more effect on the vocal, but we just felt like it worked well with that song.
Yeah. Yeah, what a crazy thing.
When we were on tour and we told him that he had auto-tune on the whole tour.
I lied to him for 3 weeks.
Yeah, everybody knew about it too. And
for 3 weeks, Andy thought that I was triggering his auto-tune on my laptop behind the drums. And every night after the show, he'd come up to me like, Stravs, the auto-tune sounded fucking good tonight. And he had this confidence, bro, like never before. Like he was
going for
so
like
good.
Notes that he wouldn't normally go for live because you have that like safety net. Yeah,
he thought he was being benched by the tune. And then on the last show of the tour, we're all backstage with like it was like we were touring with Fortunate Youth and I think like Article Sounds or something.
Yeah,
and backstage,
the dude Micah Brown from Iration came to just hang out.
Yeah. Did Micah tell him?
Micah was the one that told
Micah
him.
Told him. And so everyone on the tour knew except for Andy. I told everyone throughout the tour, like, yeah, Andy thinks he has tune, but like I'm just telling him that, but it's not on because my computer can't handle it.
Dude, he was legitimately mad.
And he was like, he couldn't believe I lied to him. And it was kind of incredible though, because it showed this kind of, dude, like your perception of things. And your perspective,
you have that safety.
Your perspective on something in life is so incredibly like important for no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
And for him, it's something as simple as being benched by a little bit of autotune made him feel more confident in his abilities to just be a great singer, which he already was fucking sick. He's so much doper than, most of the people we toured with. Is like his voice is awesome.
Yeah, no.
When he took care of it,
he did not like being the butt of a joke. Though. I think that was one of the only times.
No, because he was never. Yeah,
he was never like the one that wasn't in on it, and so it was really funny. I remember just dying laughing when he found out. I was like, oh, because Micah Brown said it, and I didn't know if we were ever gonna tell him.
No, but everyone was laughing at him. So like everyone was laughing at him. Like
Micah's like,
tricked.
So that tune was really good tonight, huh? He's like, what? He's like, the auto tune is really good tonight. It's bumping. He goes, yeah. And he's like, you haven't had it this whole time. It was good. It's really funny. Damn. Yeah, no, like it's crazy how, I don't know, just where music is going. I mean, to go back, it's kind of what we're talking about with like everything's going to go back to the early 2000s. I wonder if we're going to start hearing a lot of super heavily auto-tune music in like radio again.
Yeah, I mean,
because that was that time. That was like early. I mean, 2000.
We still do though. It's like it's not. It hasn't really gone anywhere. But
like that T-Pain sound is.
Yeah, that T-Pain. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's what I'm saying. Like the Future Sex Love Sound synths and like the like, I don't know.
Should we get in on it now? Should we just start making some early 2000s bangers?
Probably.
Yeah, some like Lil Jon shit.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how most of those songs like. The gym I was going to like 6 months ago, I stopped going there, but the music they played was really bad, but sometimes they would play like some 2000s shit, and it was all Timbaland beats.
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
Like
Timbaland, Scott
tons
Storch.
of different artists, but like it's kind of crazy how you can hear a song come on and know that Timbaland produced it based on the drums.
Oh, for sure. He has his
Kind of
sound.
crazy how like he developed that sound.
I mean, like I would say Timbaland, Pharrell, and Scott Storch like really carried like that era.
Yeah.
And Scott Storch is gonna make his millions back.
The beats are really creative too.
Yeah, he would just use like weird flute samples and oh no.
Like there's this one song that he recorded Justin Timberlake hitting some buckets in the studio and then like made it sound all fucked up, and that's the whole percussion loop for the whole song. And it's basically just that percussion loop and some drums, which is the majority of the song.
I think the song Happy by Pharrell is like 4 tracks or something total.
Yeah, the music's like 4 tracks, but then there's fuck tons of vocal stacks. I actually watched the Mix with the Masters breakdown for that. It's sick.
Really?
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like literally just that one key line and drums and then vocal.
And the cool thing too, like Pharrell and Timbaland, I feel like they're usually, even when they're playing drums on like a beat pad, like the MPC or whatever, they're not quantizing it. They're manually doing it and they're leaving it.
Yeah, just like that.
Something to that.
Inspiration from Dilla and all that.
So here's what's crazy. I'm actually not supposed to talk about this, I guess, but one of the music softwares that I use, I just got invited to this like private Zoom thing to see the new version of it. And dude, these software companies are starting to introduce like almost AI versions of like humanizing electronic music production.
That's crazy.
So like they're starting to develop ways of like clicking buttons to like nudge things and, you know, add like you can draw in a basic like, you know, 8-bar hi-hat loop that's just and then decide that you want to like humanize it a little bit and like push this knob up, and then it's like slightly moving things off the grid.
Damn.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, dude, even then, music is so based on feeling that like I think even at the end of the day you could still misuse that stuff and not know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So like I think, I don't know, like dude, yeah, there's something about being a human being that is like just very interesting to all of us that I don't think AI is going to replace anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see when like AI gets to the point where it can make like fully produce a track. I'm curious to see what that is going to sound like, because I don't think it's going to be good. But I don't know, because then that's going to kind of force real people and real musicians to push their own boundaries to be different, so that they're like, hey, this is real. So it could turn out, you know, motivating an entire group of people.
Actually a really solid point to bring up. Like I wonder if AI gets really good at mimicking human art, I wonder if that would push people to make more genuine art that is more based towards like your like fucking soul and your human heart and your emotions, because that's something the robot doesn't have access to.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like what is inside of us that we have access to, that we're pulling from when we make art, that an AI doesn't. So maybe those artists that have access to that part of themselves will rise to the top because it feels so genuine compared to the manufactured.
Yeah, you're going to have to start breaking all of rules, because the computers are going to be based off algorithms. So it's all rules. And so it's like if you're trying to make a computer sound human, it's just taking rules and tweaking them a little bit. So if you're going to try
patterns
to compete
too
with that, I wonder if there's going to like, I don't know, this could be like kind of too weird to talk about, but I wonder if like it's going to get into like atonal music and like weird stuff where the key signatures don't matter anymore, because people are just trying to express like more feeling instead of what's naturally good, to get away from, because computers aren't going to come out and make atonal music. There's no fucking way.
When you say atonal, are you talking about instruments like from India that like are playing in
those? Yeah. So like,
wait, listen though, the new update for the software that I use, they are incorporating that. So it can now tune atonal instruments and not stick to the standard like keys that we are
the normal
used to.
Standard sense.
Is that what you're talking about? Like
Kinda,
the in-between and stuff?
Well, some of that is like, but I'm talking more like, there was like this thing, I think it was in like the early 2000s or late 90s, that in classical music where they were starting to come up with new music where there's like no key, and kind of going with inspiration from like free jazz and free time music. And it's just notes that don't fit together to make new sounds. And I don't know, I'm just kind of wonder if people are going to run away from computer music so much to try to be unique that it's going to turn into this whole new thing that we're not used to.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
I don't know.
We'll have to see.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
Because like every song is the same now, especially like pop music. It's all everything's been done before. You have only a certain amount of notes to pick from, a certain amount of chords. And especially if you're doing like pop music, there's a structure that is used for almost every single song.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, there's a few different layouts and that's it. And so I don't know. It's like, how do you make that new?
Yeah.
I'm curious. When we're going to be old, we're going to be like, music fucking sucks now. But it's probably just the new shit that we're not going to understand.
Yeah.
I think when I heard Blueface for the first time, was the first time I was like, I don't get this. I don't get how people like
I'll
this
never
stuff.
get that.
Or like mumble rap and stuff,
Yeah.
that big phase. And I was just like, I don't get it at all. But maybe I'm old.
I think the mumble rap stuff, I think the reason why it was so big is because it was a hurt kid expressing how hurt he was to a bunch of other hurt kids that felt lost.
Well, that's like the SoundCloud thing, the emo rap stuff. I get that. Like, I totally understand why that took off the way it did.
But then it could be argued that even me saying that about the SoundCloud, like mumble rap stuff, I think there's even elements of that within like a band like us, like Andy's struggles and stuff he dealt with. All the people that listen to our music that maybe go through similar struggles and they're like, they feel lost or they feel like they're dealing with the same stuff. And then for some reason, our music resonates with them. I think, I don't know. Dude, music is so insane.
I know.
I've been thinking about it so much, dude. Just like how, I don't know. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's really wild. I'm excited to see what is going to happen with everything. I think it's going to be cool, and it's already opened up so much space for just anybody who wants to create art to be able to do it. And which has led to a lot of really shitty art, but also has led to a lot of really amazing kids being able to actually get something out there and do something different and try it. And anybody can put anything online now, and anything can be on Spotify and stuff. So it's kind of cool. Did you see Spotify recently made it so they're not going to pay artists that they have to get at least 1,000 plays now?
Seriously?
Yeah. And I saw something where I was like, at first I was like, that's so dumb. But I saw someone talking about how it's actually going to be a good thing, because it's going to get rid of all those bots and the people that just upload rain sounds. Because all the way Spotify money works is it goes in percentage of shares of how many listens you get. And they take all the money that Spotify gets for it.
Yeah.
And then it goes into percentage, you get a couple million streams a month, say, then you're in whatever bracket of people get that much, and then that's the percentage of the money that they pay you, and it's going to kind of knock out a bunch of people trying to either scam it, or bots, or sleep sounds that people just put up 3 hours of rain, and then they're getting an equal cut to an artist that actually puts hours and hours into making stuff. So it might actually turn into more money for artists.
Yeah, shit's gonna keep changing fast. It's gonna be wild. I mean, dude, I even get overwhelmed when I think about all these younger artists that I'm helping sometimes when they ask for guidance and we ask for help. I just think about how hard it's been for us to cut through.
Yeah.
And how much we've done compared to some of the artists that, I'm in the studio with and trying to help. But I almost feel I feel like almost unequipped to really truly give them like advice, just because things are changing so fast.
I mean, so much has changed
And-
since our last release, even. So it's
And
like,
even just like our path as a band and like what we've done to build a fan base is not the answer most people are looking for, because people want shortcuts and they
Right.
want things to be easy. And our, you know, like our whole road to like whatever the fuck it is we're doing right now has been a lot of ups and downs and like almost giving up and like, you know,
yeah, no,
losing belief and then regaining belief. And then it's just been like such a fucking roller coaster, man, that like, you know, when someone asks you for guidance, be like, well, dude, you know, do it for 10 years, expect to make no money. Like, I'm just telling you what
every
happened with me.
relationship you have is going to be fucking ruined.
Yeah, like here,
you have
like
no friends, your family's never going to see you.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's even something I've been thinking about too lately is like, I feel like, especially now with podcasts being so popular, it's so easy to listen to all these people who claim that they have everything figured out and they want to give you advice. So it's like a bunch of successful people giving you advice from their current, like, fucking chair that they're sitting in.
Right, yeah.
And like, I would love to say that, you know, like I now, with what we've gone through, I can look back and see what I did wrong and see what I could have maybe handled better or balanced better. But would I be sitting in the same position I am in today? If like, would Katastro have made it that far if I didn't do that? I think I could have. I think there was like better ways to handle it, but that's just what I ended up doing.
That's part of doing anything.
And that's part of us like growing
yeah.
and learning and like, I guess, learning how to like balance more in life and like, you know, also being able to take a step back when something tragic happens and then like reorient yourself. And
there's so much chance involved, and some people are going to accidentally make every right move, and some people are going to make every wrong move by accident. And you can't look at your path and be like, oh, if I had only said yes to this and no to that, then everything would be fine, because it doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's just making decisions. Yeah, you can make more like highly educated decisions to try to do something better, but at the end of the day, it's like, what's going to happen is going to happen. You either stick with it or you don't.
yeah.
And some people do blow up overnight because they have the funding, the money, and the uncle and the dad or whoever's in the business, and they can get there. But for most people, it's, you know, a fucking grind, and it can really wear you down. You just got to keep going, you know.
When you look back at the band's, like our band's career, what do you think was one of our biggest mistakes or something that slowed us down? When you think about it,
I think we just waited too long to take it seriously. I think it like, and I don't regret it. It was fun and it was like really cool. And I think we needed to like live that part of our lives. But there was a long time where we were just like, we're just in a band to be in a band and not like, hey, this could be a career. I think if we set out and thought this has to be our career and we were all on the same page from the very beginning, I think there would have been a lot quicker steps in the early days. But
that's something that's tough for me to come to grips with now too, just because Andy's gone. Because there is part of me that sometimes wondered, like, damn, if we would have like had to sit down when we were 20 years old and looked at each other at a table and be like, yo, if we want to have like the opportunity to support our families by the time we're 30 and like really fucking take this shit seriously, like what would we do and what would this look like and what would our band look like? And like you said, we can't go back and change the past.
Right.
What happened, and we're in we're in this place we're supposed to be sitting at right now for whatever fuck reason we know. But yeah. It's just when you're younger you don't think about shit like that.
But also it's like where we were at that time and the music we were creating, like we weren't ready for anything really massive to happen to us. And it's like maybe we just needed to figure ourselves out as kids first and go through a bunch of rough times
and make a bunch of
like,
mistakes.
Hey, I'm doing this to myself, I can fix this, instead of being like, oh, this is a business and we're running it as like fucking kids walking around. It's like I don't regret it because I had a fucking great time and we have so much cool experiences and friends and people from it. But looking back, I do like, that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, we wasted years before we were even like touring or anything because we just weren't taking it seriously. We weren't trying to get new shows. We were waiting for, you know, our manager now pretty much to call us every now and then for whoever's coming into town. We weren't like as proactive as I think we could have been then.
I think too, when I look back, I think something that we wasted a lot of time doing was focusing on things that we weren't getting and weren't receiving versus focusing on things that we could provide to our fans and provide to the people that listen to our music.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think when Pat from the Main jumped on to help us, I remember him kind of being able to get us to fundamentally understand that like the whole mindset is kind of fucked up right now, and we need to like channel all this energy back into this clean like outputting of like giving your fans stuff.
Yeah.
And then once we started doing that, I feel like we started seeing our world change, and not only that, but seeing the energy from the fans change.
Yeah,
everyone in the band's energy was changing too.
I think another thing that I like looking back that we could have done better is just embracing the changes in the music industry. And like, it was, you know, at the time we started was MySpace, and there was like a few people like popping off on MySpace suddenly, but then Instagram became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have a band Instagram for a long time. We'd post on Facebook every
and
now
then
and
even when we
then.
did, we weren't really like communicating with our fans much and like messaging them back or like making sure we're checking our posts, or like I remember we'd take like we'd finish a tour and we'd be like depressed and we just wouldn't post for like 4 months.
Yes. Well, we just wouldn't use it because to us, it was just, we were treating it as if it was just our personal
fun
thing. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't need to post because I don't feel like posting. I don't have anything to post. But to like realize what it was becoming and what was actually going on, it's like people are launching their entire careers only through social media now. And that like rules everything. It's like we were there at the very beginning of it happening, and we didn't like do anything to try to make that better for ourselves.
Yeah, there's so many. That is one really exciting thing. As much as it feels like, if you're a younger artist today, as much as it feels like you're stepping into this just abyss of like millions of songs being uploaded every week, and feeling like, how am I going to cut through this noise? You also have the opportunity to just literally be yourself, post what you want, make the art that you want that's like true to you and unique. And I think that's the fastest way to cut through.
Yeah, it's just hard though because it's such a separate thing. Like for me, social media was never anything I wanted to do. Like I liked it because I could talk to my friends and like meet like people or whatever like normally, but I didn't want to be a guy that was in front of a camera talking like we do now. Back then it was just like, it felt not like me.
Genuine.
And so I just didn't do it. But it's like I could have learned to embrace it as like a tool to like help our bands, you know.
Well, I remember, dude, even up until like 4 or 5 years ago, I remember us thinking it was like really cheesy and lame to like talk to the camera and like post it.
Yeah, we'd make fun
like
of each other for having like a selfie up. I remember like Andrew would post a selfie and we'd be like, loser.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that's how you like fucking talk to people.
But also too, I think there's some people I follow where I feel like they have a really good relationship with like how they are talking to the camera, not in this like theatrical way that like I'm trying to put on a presentation, but like actually using it like, hey, I'm actually talking to the people that follow this account. I'm actually talking to our listeners. I'm actually like developing a relationship with them. I think there are some artists that are understanding that. I think that's what about the younger generation, like even like these mumble rap, like the stuff that was popping off on SoundCloud when SoundCloud first got big. I feel like what their advantage was is that they already thought it was normal to like talk to people through the phone. So like posting selfie videos and just posting what they're doing all the time wasn't like lame to them. It was like, I'm just doing this
with like YouTube and shit. Like we didn't even have that.
Yeah.
So there was no like idea of being like an influencer was like something that you wouldn't ever think of.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, there was like Tila Tequila and like literally like that was like it was like those kinds of people. And you're like, okay, well like that's not me. I'm just a kid in fucking Arizona. I'm not this girl, you know, that's online. So now to be like everybody's growing up and instead of watching TV, they were watching YouTube of kids doing pranks and becoming personalities and learning who these people are. And then they want to do that. And it's like, it's more ingrained in their everyday life of being like this public personality and everything's filmed because everybody has a camera. Where when we grew up, nobody had a camera. It was like hard work to edit anything together.
Yeah.
And unless you were in like the school class, you wouldn't ever do anything like that.
Oh, thank God we weren't posting videos on YouTube when we were 19, bro.
Oh, dude, we would be canceled.
We'd be haunted.
It would just be us shit face at night.
Us drawing permanent marker on our friend's face while he's blacked out.
Yeah, that would be good.
Not good, dude. Yeah. There's a lot of positives to the social media thing, I think.
I mean, it's everything. It's just you gotta accept. I think we're still probably not embracing it because like we don't really do anything on TikTok and stuff like that. So it's like,
I gotta take a break sometimes. You know, I like last week, you handled you've been handling a lot of the band's posts lately, but like, I remember texting you like, dude, just a heads up. I texted Gonzo too. It's like, I'm deleting Instagram for like a week. I gotta take a break. Sometimes I just gotta like not look at my phone for a week.
I go through phases
because it's not good for you.
No,
dude, it's really not. And like, I think it's kind of crazy to me how much differently my brain works when I'm not looking at that all day long.
Yeah, I'm so bad. I'm like still trying to fix it. I started listening to audiobooks because I don't even realize I'm just scrolling on my phone and just consuming all the shit. And so I started like listening to audiobooks instead of sitting there and scrolling.
I like audiobooks. I do notice about myself that I think I remember and retain information better by actually reading the book.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the reason being is because if I'm not reading it, I can listen and catch myself not paying attention. Like, it's easier for me to catch myself that I'm not paying attention when I'm reading versus listening.
Yeah, I do both, but like when I listen to audiobooks.
Wait, do you read it and listen to it?
No, I think I'm going to start doing that because I listen and then I'm just like, dude, I've been thinking about like dinner tomorrow for like an hour.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I have no idea.
And then I'm like,
doing.
Fuck, have I been not listening for 30 minutes or 3 hours?
I call
how
it,
fast, how much do I have to rewind right now?
Yeah, I just rewind until I'm like, I think I heard that and I just keep going. But I've been like, doing it because I used to do a lot of audiobooks on tour.
You got me into doing audiobooks on tour because it was the Ebola one, the hot zone.
Hot zone, yeah.
I actually really did enjoy audiobooks on tour because the problem with reading a book in the van, which I would do, but you end up getting a headache. It's
or
you kind of start feeling
get like
sick.
nauseous and stuff. Yeah.
If the road isn't smooth, you know.
Yeah, I'd put my headphones on and close my eyes and then just listen to an audiobook. Because then it would be like you'd be on a 16-hour drive. You can knock out like an American classic right there in 16 hours.
I don't know why I just thought about this, but do you remember when we used to blast Mars Volta in the morning in the van just to wake Andy up?
Oh, it's so annoying.
To piss him off.
We'd be so hungover and he'd be so mad.
No. It would probably be the nights where he was the only one that was hungover. And so like 7:30, the sun's rising. We're like driving in the middle of nowhere in Idaho and Terry's, should we put on Mars Volta?
Elvia or something. De Laus going crazy.
Andy just yelling, stop! It's not funny.
I didn't sleep at all. He's like been sleeping for 15 hours. He's like, I didn't sleep at all last night. He'd always try to prove it by saying whatever your last sentence was.
Yeah. I'd be like, your eyes were closed. He's like, my eyes were closed, but trust me, I was not sleeping.
Yeah, he'd always say that. And it's like, dude, you've been asleep. You slept more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audiobooks, dude, I really like. I just finished, like since I had COVID, I was like, dude, I'm just going to start reading again. And I've been like tying flies. So I'll just like listen to a book and then just like tying up.
What'd you listen to?
Fishing flies. I did Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, which I've been wanting to read for a really long time. And I had it downloaded for years and I just never did. So I did that one. I did Killers of the Flower Moon.
I really want to read that.
I really want to see the movie now. And then I did, what else? I just finished one about the Nazis last night. It's about this like American, it's like in the Garden of the Beast, I think. It's about an American family that gets pushed or like they have to move to Germany like right before everything starts going on with that Hitler guy. And they are American diplomats and he's like not really qualified for the job. And it just goes through like how much everything changed incredibly quickly and like the steps that led up to what actually was. So like the end of the book, it wasn't fully the end of the book is pretty much when Hitler became like fully in power, but it showed like everything that happened. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, I've just been doing like, I only really listen to nonfiction, or I really like Cormac McCarthy. So, but
That's cool.
it's kind of cool to like go to a different time. And for like, the older I get, the more interested I am in like history.
For sure.
I hated history.
Why? Because I think there's so many like similar patterns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can almost like listen, like watch a documentary or read some stuff about history and pull meaning out of it. And like, especially as something as deep as like the Holocaust, and seeing
and you're
like what,
how did that happen? And you think like, how could that possibly happen? And then you realize like, I can learn how that happened. And you see all these steps, and you're like,
and then you see that it could actually happen. Sense, it could happen again.
Like, I understand how. I mean, it's crazy as fuck, but like, you can see all these little things and how these people just got. You say yes to so many things, and you like justify so many things, and before you know it, you're like in the middle of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the craziest. It really was pretty. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but the whole time I was just like, holy shit, this is really nuts. And it didn't even really get into like the World War at all. It was just all the steps leading up to like how he got power, and just changing laws, and obviously like the anti-Semitism and how that grew from like something really small to like this massive thing. It's really wild.
It's so terrifying too how all those people truly believe that they were doing the right thing.
I mean,
like that's how dark and like fucked up and
when your whole country is going crazy and they're all together on one thing, and so it's like you can't step out, or you wouldn't want to because it was like uncomfortable, and then before you know it, there's rules saying you can't fucking step out of line. They start killing all these fucking people, and they're killing their own like army that is trying to stop them. Then they just become the new thing, and then you're in it, and it's like over all this time you had all these opportunities where you could have slowed it, you could have stopped it, and then just by not taking action because you're thinking, oh, it's not that bad, and you're trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, next thing you know, it's like the world is getting taken over and everybody's dying, and it's fucking insane. It's really crazy. I'm looking for, I don't know what I'm going to read next, but I've really been liking it. I call it autism time. I just lay in bed and I put on an audiobook and I play Minesweeper because I don't have to think about Minesweeper, and it keeps me in the story. And I just lay there for hours and I just play fucking Minesweeper and then listen to a book. So I'm in the story, but I'm like, that way I'm not like looking at my phone and start thinking about other things or going on social media or stuff. I just lay there.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I'll actually send you a video of what it looks like because I sent it to my friends. I was like, all right, guys, heading back into the zone. I sent them a screenshot and it was just all these bubbles going away, and then like the Cormac McCarthy book playing in the background.
Yeah. The owner of the Idiot looked about the tawdry grog shop, passing up each face as if it did not quite suffice. He picked himself up and moved past the end of the bench. When he was halfway across the room, the judge called out to him. "Has he always been like that?" said the judge. "Yes, sir. He was born that way." He turned to go. Glanton emptied his cup and set it before him and looked up.
Killers of the Flower Moon, is that what it's called?
That one's not Cormac McCarthy, but yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon is the new one.
I know, that's the movie that just came out. I want to read that before I watch the movie.
So I had that. That's another one where I'd had it downloaded.
So that is about the Native Americans in the West, right?
So yeah, it's Osage Native Americans, dude. The story is fucking nuts.
Does it have anything to do with the Comanches?
I don't know.
Which is that other book that we read, right? Or the one we listened to?
That's
Empire of the Summer Moon?
Yeah. That one's fucking
Is there anything to do with Empire of the Summer Moon and Killers of the Flower?
No.
There's no similarities there?
There's
two different
Native
stories?
Americans really love moons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that they would just like call the areas the... but yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon is one of the most insane, like, true stories. And, like, long story short, a bunch of... Like, this Native American group got kicked out of their land a bunch of times, and they get offered this one plot of land. And in their negotiation with, like, the government... They get to own everything that's on the land, and it happened to be like the biggest oil land in the entire country. So there was one tribe of, natives that had more money than almost anybody in the fucking country. And so everybody's millionaires. And then they had like help, like kind of like housekeepers, almost not slaves, but, helpers around and maids and staff. And they would be poor white people. And it's just this whole weird thing of like everything else everywhere that was going on everywhere else at the time. And then there's these people where like they would go and they'd have the brand new car that was out, and this is in the 20s, so it's like the first car, and they would break a tire and they would just go buy a new car, and it was just fucking wild. And if you died, your birthright would go to like the next person in line. So suddenly all these Native Americans start getting murdered and poisoned and taken out, and it goes down this line, and they pretty much had to create the FBI. It's like the birth of the FBI to find out who did it, because everybody was so racist and against them that they couldn't get any information on it. It's really crazy. I really love all these like they're true stories. They read like movies, and you're just like, I can't believe this is real, because it sounds so. I've never heard anything like it. So if anybody has any book recommendations, send it to me. I really do like the Native American stuff too.
Yeah, DM us good book recs.
Yeah,
I'm not really I'm not a fiction guy.
Me either, but
maybe I am. I don't know.
So Cormac McCarthy wrote.
I don't know anything.
Cormac McCarthy wrote No Country for Old Men and The Road, which are two, like, No Country is one of the best movies of all time.
It's such a good movie.
And I'd read the book too beforehand, and like that's one of the movies. I'm such a fan of movies. So I like love stories, like good stories, well done. And the movie is so good, like it's such a good representation of the book. But Cormac McCarthy's like a badass motherfucker. All of his writing is crazy. And Blood Meridian is like brutal. So it's not true, but it's so well researched that it's all like kind of what was going on at the time, but it's a story about these fictional people going around, and yeah, it's brutal. It's crazy though. I'll send it to you. You'll like it.
I'm down.
But
should we?
Yeah, let's call it for today.
Should we wrap this one?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Hell yeah, man. We just talked about the arts.
Back at camp, baby.
Peace.